You know, my students always look at me like I've lost my mind when I tell them this. They sit there with their smartphones, their AirPods, scrolling through social media, and I say, "You're not more advanced than the ancient Greeks. They think I'm being provocative." I'm not. I'm being accurate. Let me show you something. In 1901, divers found a corroded bronze mechanism off the coast of the Greek island Antikythera. It sat in a museum for decades before anyone understood what it was. When they finally x-rayed it, they discovered something that shouldn't exist. An analog computer from 100 BCE with over 30 bronze gears that could predict eclipses, track celestial bodies, and calculate astronomical cycles with terrifying precision. The Antikythera Mechanism combined Babylonian astronomy, Plato's mathematics, and Greek cosmological theories into a single device. We didn't build anything comparable until the 14th century. That's a 1,400-year gap. Think about that. But here's what really keeps me up at night. We don't know how they made it. The knowledge is gone. Just like we can't recreate Damascus steel, those 9th century blades that were multiple times stronger and sharper than anything we produce today. The secret died because the wootz steel from India that made it possible no longer exists. Just like Greek fire, the Byzantine chemical weapon that burned in water and could only be extinguished with vinegar, sand, or urine. Completely lost. We have no idea how they made it. You see, this is the lie we tell ourselves, that history moves in a straight line, always upward, always forward. Progress, that's what we call it. But history doesn't care about our narrative. History is cyclical. The Greeks knew this. The Romans knew this. The Chinese knew this. Only we, in our modern arrogance, think we've escaped the pattern. Let me tell you about Rome. At its height, Roman civilization had multi-story apartment buildings, public flush toilets, glass windows, floor heating, aqueducts that transported fresh water across hundreds of miles, water mills arranged in series for industrial production. They had cities with over 100,000 inhabitants. They built the Pantheon with concrete so advanced that it's still standing 2,000 years later, and our modern concrete can't match it. Roman concrete could harden underwater using volcanic ash, lime, and seawater. We only recently figured out why it works. Then Rome fell. And for centuries, Europeans could see these structures, the aqueducts, the highways, the domes, but they couldn't replicate them. They looked at Roman ruins the way we might look at alien technology. Medieval Europe went from being the most literate, technologically advanced, cosmopolitan place on Earth to one of the most illiterate and insulated in just a few centuries. Literacy all but vanished. Without writing, without the ability to record ideas, progress stopped. Not slowed, stopped. The study of human anatomy was labeled witchcraft. Technologies were forgotten. It took until the 19th and 20th centuries to reinvent things the Romans had mastered 2,000 years earlier. We call this the Dark Ages, as if it was some anomaly, some unfortunate accident. It wasn't. It's the pattern. Civilizations rise, accumulate knowledge, then collapse. The knowledge scatters. And if you're lucky, if you're very lucky, someone preserves it long enough for the next civilization to find it. The Arabs did that for us, by the way. While Europe was burning books and forgetting how to build aqueducts, Arab scholars were preserving Greek and Roman texts in places like Al-Andalus. The Abbasid Caliphate was translating Aristotle while Europeans were living in mud huts. China was inventing gunpowder and printing while Europe was still copying manuscripts by hand. The Dark Ages weren't global, they were European. But that's the thing about collapse. It's never universal until it is. Now, here's where my students start to get uncomfortable. I asked them, what is progress? And they say things like GDP growth, technological advancement, longer lifespans, more consumer goods, all external measures, all material. And I say, okay, but are you wiser than Socrates? Are you more virtuous than Marcus Aurelius? Do you understand yourself better than the Buddha? Silence. You see, the ancients measured progress differently. They valued inner balance, self-mastery, wisdom, compassion. They asked, what is the good life? Not, how much can I consume? The Greeks created philosophy not to build better machines, but to build better humans. And by that measure, by that ancient measure, we haven't progressed at all. We've regressed. John Gray, the British philosopher, said it perfectly. Knowledge does not make us free. It leaves us as we have always been, prey to every kind of folly. We have more technology than ever before, but we're still driven by the same base impulses. Greed, fear, tribalism, the desire for power. Technology doesn't change human nature. It amplifies it. Look at the 20th century. We split the atom, an incredible scientific achievement. What did we do with it? We incinerated 200,000 people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We built nuclear arsenals capable of ending all life on Earth. As another historian noted, without railways, the telegraph, and poison gas, there could have been no Holocaust. Our greatest technological achievements enabled our greatest atrocities. Science has no morals. It can heal or kill. And history shows us that humans are very, very good at choosing the latter. This is what I mean when I say we're not more advanced. We have better tools, yes, but we're using them for the same purposes humans have always used. Tools. To acquire goods, to compete, to fight wars, to dominate. We've merely enlarged our instrumentalities without improving our purposes. The Indus Valley Civilization existed around 2,500 BCE, over 4,500 years ago. They had cities of 40,000 people with closed gutters, public baths, communal granaries, and advanced drainage systems. They lived in greater harmony with nature than we do today. Indigenous cultures around the world farmed with nature's cycles for millennia without destroying the ecosystems they depended on. We've been industrialized for 200 years, and we've destabilized the entire planet's climate. So tell me, who's more advanced? Here's what really terrifies me as a historian. The evidence suggests this has happened before. That ancient civilizations may have reached heights we don't fully understand, then declined, then humanity rebuilt. The pattern repeats. What we call the Renaissance, this great rebirth of knowledge and culture, might just be a recovery from a far longer and deeper decline spanning 5,000 years. We're not progressing, we're recovering, and we might decline again. Aristotle understood this. He viewed history as a series of processes of growth and decline, no more meaningful than those we observe in the lives of plants and animals. David Hume believed history was cyclical, with periods of peace and freedom regularly followed by war and tyranny. These weren't pessimists, they were realists. They had seen enough of history to understand the pattern. My students always ask me, Professor Jiang, are you saying technology is bad? Should we go back to living in caves? No. I'm saying that technology without wisdom is dangerous. I'm saying that material progress without moral progress is meaningless. I'm saying that if we measure advancement only by our external achievements and ignore our internal state, we're using the wrong metric. The ancients knew something we've forgotten. That the true measure of a civilization isn't how tall its buildings are or how fast its computers run. It's how it treats its people, how it sustains its environment, how it cultivates wisdom and virtue in its citizens. By that measure, we're not advanced at all. We're just ancient civilizations with better weapons. And history shows us exactly where that leads.